friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. I'm so thankful that you're here. Today we're going to be doing something that, as I was preparing for it, was giving me a little bit of remorse, shame, embarrassment. I am so excited that this year, again, Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand, Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library, and I will be doing another book exchange for Christmas. So I thought, before we get into December and get into the new books that they're sending me, let's take a look at the books that they sent me in 2019 and see how many of them that I read. It's not good. But it's kind of fun looking through books that I have on my shelves because it always makes me more excited to read them. And we still have a month left of the year. I might be able to knock out a couple more before the year's over. So we're just going to take a look at the 12 books that Sarah sent me and the 12 books that Lindsay sent me and see how many of them I actually read. So we'll start with Sarah's pile because that's right here next to me. She sent me the nonfiction Everybody Always by Bob Goff, which I have not read, but I have talked about reading with Chloe from Always Booked. So this might happen at some point. Maybe before the end of the year? I don't know. It's not really that long. It shouldn't take too long. She sent me Winter in Paradise, which I'm just thinking might be a good fit for one of the readathons that's happening in December. So there's that. I'm also just a little hesitant about Ellen Hildebrand because some of the books I've read from her have adultery in them, and I'm not sure if this one does or not. And that's not a trope that I like to read about in books. So we'll see. She sent me a historical fiction called The Sea Captain's Wife by Beth Pounding. Have not read this one yet either. This takes place in Canada in the 1860s. Interested because it's a part of the world and a time period that I haven't read that much about. So I'm always interested in those types of things. This one, she said, was going to make me think, The Promise of Stardust. I believe it's about like a woman who's sick and her husband potentially having to make the decision to keep her on life support or not. Yikes. Haven't read that one. Now we're getting to some that I have read. Pride, Prejudice, and Other Flavors by Sonali Dev. I loved this. This might be so far my favorite Pride and Prejudice retelling. So good. Set in an Indian American family. And I loved it. Super cute. Very fun. Was just what I needed whenever I read it. So good. Loved it. Thank you, Sarah. So there's one. One so far. But here we have another one, Necessary Lives by Diane Chamberlain. I listened to this on audio over the summer, but I'm counting it as read because Sarah's the one that put it on my radar. This was also a fantastic book. The two Diane Chamberlain books that I read this year, I loved both of them. This one deals with forced sterilization in a impoverished community in North Carolina. Yikes. Slightly historical, 1960s, so not current, but yeah, current enough that it was pretty crazy to read about. Loved it. And another one, 3, Kitchens of the Great Midwest by J. Ryan Straddle. This was a unique book. I chose this for one of the books in my Goodreads read-along group over the summer, I believe. It wasn't a great hit with everybody, and I think I ended up giving it 3 stars, maybe 4. I liked the way that it was written, almost in a short story type format, but I really liked the main character, and there were aspects about it that I really liked. It wasn't a huge hit, not a 5-star read, but I did really enjoy it. Then we have one that I'm possibly gonna unhaul. I don't know. It's The Fact of a Body by Alexandria Marzano-Lesnevich. This, I believe, is a nonfiction. This one is kind of a hybrid of true crime and memoir, emotionally raw and unflinching. A young law student, an unspeakable crime in the past that refuses to stay buried. Honestly, I've never read true crime before, so maybe I should give it a try. I am just wary of this one. I'm a little nervous about it. So that's in my unread pile. Oh, one that I don't have anymore that she gave me is Foxheart by Claire Legrand, and I did a vlog towards the end of the summer where I read this all in one day, and it's a middle grade fantasy and I really enjoyed it, but it is one that I passed along to someone else and I don't have it here anymore, but I did read it. So that's 4 so far. 2, 3, 4 that I have read and 5 that I haven't from Sarah's pile so far. And the last 3 I have not yet read. The Paragon Hotel by Lindsay Fay. author of Jane Steele, which I did really enjoy, so I'm very interested in still reading this one. Alice Hoffman's The Marriage of Opposites. I have read one other Alice Hoffman book, and I have a couple others on on my shelves, but I haven't read this one, and I believe it's a historical fiction. 1800s, St. Thomas Island, deals with some family issues. So it definitely sounds like something I'd be interested in. I mean, I am interested in it, but I haven't read it. And then a Jodi Picoult book, House Rules. I've had mixed feelings about Jodi Picoult in the books that I've read of hers, so I'm always a little hesitant to pick up ones that I haven't read, but I'm still holding on to it. Maybe I will get to it soon. I mean, I'd like to get to it soon. So out of Sarah's pile, I read 4, and I did not read 8. That's not too bad. That's like a third, 33%. Let's see how I did with Lindsays Books. So here we go. We're starting off on a good note because I read this in this month. Dear Fahrenheit 451. I have not talked about it yet. I will wrap it up in my November wrap up, but this is a nonfiction by a librarian who writes letters to books on her shelves and on the library shelves. I liked the first part. It has like kind of a separate section at the end that I didn't care for, but I really liked the part that was the letters to the books. So I think I gave that 3 stars on Goodreads. Another middle grade. These girls know that I love some middle grade. This is Crossing Ebenezer Creek, a historical fiction set in Georgia during the Civil War. I'm very interested in reading it. I love middle grade everything, but in particular historical fiction always. I mean, I love all historical fiction, and Lindsay knows that, which is why she put another one on my pile, America's First Daughter by Stephanie Dray and Laura Kamoe. This one follows one of the daughters of Thomas Jefferson. So very excited to read that one. One that I just recently included in my Try a Chapter tag is The Readers of Broken Wheel Recommend by Katarina Bivald. And you guys, if you watched that video, you saw that I was intrigued by the beginning of this, so I am very eager to read it. I'm keeping it near my December TBR because I'm hoping to read this before the end of the year. So we'll see if that gets read. Another Jodi Picoult book, Keeping Faith. Talked about her already. Always a little hesitant to pick her up. We'll see what happens. She got me a copy of The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, which is a book I had already read before by John Boyne, so I'm counting it as read. I did not own a copy, and I'm so thankful that she gave me a copy. This is such a pretty copy. It has like shimmeriness to it. This was a horribly moving book. Oh, and definitely made me cry. There's a couple here that I should have included in my books that have the word house or home in the title, because she gave me 3 books that have home in the title. Calling Me Home by Julie Kibler. I don't know what year it's set, but it's kind of a traveling book. This elderly woman asks her black hairdresser to drive her back to her hometown or something like that, and the hairdresser, Dory, is also running or trying to avoid situations as well, so she agrees to this crazy scheme. So they go traveling, and it's about that. Sounds so good. Another one with home in the title, Almost Home by Valerie Fraser Lewis. This makes me think so much of, where is it? This cover, I just had to grab this one off my shelf. Look at those covers. That's so funny. They're so similar. Anyways, sorry. Sidetracked. Almost Home is another one that Lindsay gave me, and this one is about a small town in Alabama at the beginning of World War II. That's all I needed to know. Definitely want to read that. And then the third home book, which is a little bit more kind of a thriller, A Land More Kind Than Home by Wiley Cash. Yeah, so I remembered not looking up too much about what this is even about. It's a Southern fiction, gothic, thriller vibes, beautiful writing. Yeah. I'm very interested in all these books, but I didn't get to them. There's just so many books, guys. All right, the next one that Lindsay gave me is A Grown-Up Kind of Pretty by Jocelyn Jackson. And this is a 15-year-old kind of coming-of-age story, family drama. It definitely sounds right up my alley. Didn't get to it, but here we go. We've got one that I did read. Whoops, I just lost the tag. I read this one right away in January. Still Alice by Lisa Genova. Did I read it in January? It might have been February. I don't know, but I loved it. Still Alice made me cry. Lisa Genova is so good at writing about brain diseases and disorders and trauma and different things. This one in particular deals with Alzheimer's, and we watch this woman, Alice, as she goes at the beginning stages of her Alzheimer's as it gets worse. It's written as if she's forgetting things and then repeating them. Like, the way that it's written is just brilliant. You really get to get a glimpse of what Alzheimer's could be like for somebody, as well as what it could be like for the family. It felt realistic. I didn't agree with all of the choices the family members made. I got so frustrated with them sometimes, but I also understood that in a similar position, how would I react? Probably not everything would be perfect. It was just so realistic and so sad. Definitely sobbed during this one. Loved it though. And then finally, the 12th book from Lindsay is The Chili Queen by Sandra Dallas. This is another historical fiction, and I think it deals with a brothel in New Mexico, 1880s. Some of you have said that you really liked Sandra Dallas, so I definitely am interested in all of these ones that I didn't get to. The only one that I'm a little hesitant about, well, the Jodi Picoult books, I definitely want to try, but I'm not sure about them. The Fact of a Body, that true crime one, I'm not sure about that one. And then the Ellen Hillenbrand, does that one have adultery in it? I just don't know. So there you have it. Out of all 24 books, right? 24 books. Here are the 6 that I own. I read 7. So out of the 24 books given to me by Lindsay and Sarah, I read 7. I read 3 from Lindsay and 4, I'm missing the 4th one, from Sarah. 7 out of 24, a little, 8, 16, 24, a little less than a third. A little less, so maybe like 30%, not 33, but 30%-ish. I guess that's not horrible. 30%. It's not great. It wouldn't pass a class. I'm very excited though, because in December, we're going to be sharing the next round of our book exchange. I have sent them their books. It's going to happen. It's going down. 4 different videos in the month of December where we will open 6, so 3 from each of the other 2 people. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see their reactions to the books that I gave them. I'm so excited to see what they chose for me this year. And I'm putting all of these books on their own shelf in my library here. It's up on a bookcase that's over there that you don't see. I'm putting all of these books on their own shelf, and hopefully will continue to work my way through them, even as the new ones come, even as I get blessed with new books and bring new books into my home. I'm still keeping these ones separate and focusing on them so that I can read them, because I'm just so grateful for Sarah and Lindsay and their friendship, and for this fun little gift exchange that we do for the last year, every 2 years now, for the last 2 years now. Yeah, it's just so much fun. So I hope that you enjoyed this. Let me know if there's any of these that you're like, Krista, pick that one up immediately. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you can answer any of my concerns about those few that I talked about, I would love to hear that as well. Let's chat down in the comments. You guys know I love talking to you down in the comments, and I will be talking to you in another video very soon. Bye.